Welcome to PrepsNet Coach Speak with Minor Tenacious Tigers head football coach Adrian Abrams, powered by CM Gridiron. Here's your host, Aubrey Johnson.
Welcome back, Coach.
Glad to be back.
Another day, another show. You've had a bye week this past week, and so I'm wondering, is it giving you time for your kids to rest and mend?
Absolutely. I think anytime you get an opportunity to just mend, especially when you play a physical brand of football, and rest and focus on the small details, I think that comes in handy and will pay dividends down the road. Good.
What have you gotten to do this week, being the off week, that you wouldn't normally get a chance to do?
Well, kids laugh every time we say this, but I think you get a chance to dig into the minutia, the finer details. I think, you have an opportunity to do that during the spring and during the summer, but once the fall hits and you input an opponent, then a lot of the focus goes into the opponent, game planning and skill.
Sure.
And, at the end of the day, it's going to end up being skill over scheme.
Right.
A lot of times we get into scheming as coaches, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of good coaches in this league. And when they figured out the scheme or, your answer for their answer, it's going to come back to, are you better at what you do than they are at what they do?
Right.
And so we got to focus on the skill this week.
Okay. It also kind of gives you a chance to kind of get back to fundamentals, doesn't it? Tackling and throwing and everything.
No doubt. This game comes down to blocking and tackling. And
yes,
we want
sir.
to do that really well.
Yes, sir. Well, has this been a moment for you to kind of look back at the last 4 weeks and reflect, as well as look forward, because you've got a pretty big schedule ahead of you?
Yeah. Well, anytime you play in 6A ball in the state of Alabama, every game's a big game.
Right.
And so I don't want to, get too focused on looking back. We are looking ahead, and we aren't looking any further than Gardendale because they are a very formidable opponent.
Right. So kind of give us an idea, you've had this bye week. I got to thinking about, practicing. Kind of give us a typical week of practice. What all do y'all do?
Well, I think it does change up a little bit in the bye week because you had some extra time last week to kind of focus on yourself. And so on a Sunday, we're going to come in and we're going to get a good lift in. And then we're going to do a walkthrough and just kind of introduce the opposing team.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it looks pretty much like everybody else's. Mondays are always tough because it's generally a shorter practice because you got a JV game.
Right.
And then Tuesday and Wednesday, those are your tougher practices. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to be physical. We're going to hit. And then Thursday, the hay's in the barn. You're going to polish up and get ready to rock and roll.
Right. Very good. Very good. Well, Coach, we talked about last week the fact that y'all are playing an away game this week at Gardendale. We mentioned it. Let's just recap it real quick. You've got Gardendale is sitting at 2-2. You guys are 3-0. But the teams that they have played thus far have been the wins have been big, and the bigger opponents like Parker and James Clements have been very difficult. So you can't underthink this team coming in because they're very difficult to play against, especially at home. What do you think it'll take to win the game?
Well, really, my focus, we aren't good enough yet as a team for me to completely focus on somebody else.
Right.
It really comes down to us doing the things that we do well, playing our game. There are going to be no secrets when we show up on Friday night. They know what we're going to do, and we got a pretty good, we're zeroed in pretty good on what they're going to do, and it's going to come down to us executing at a high level, eliminating penalties and taking care of the football. And they're going to try to do the same. And when the dust settles, whoever does that the best will win the ball game.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, that's another show. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate you guys watching out there. Join us again next week for another minor version of Coach Speak.
Go Tigers.